So, thank you all for ready, set, ready? I hope you have some notes to take. I'm going to take some notes. So, right now, I'm going to introduce somebody who's an owner of Coldwell Banker Legacy. It's the 5th largest Coldwell Banker franchise in the U.S. They've sold over 70,000 homes. Who think that's a lot? 70,000? Yeah. Okay. They have about 450 agents, and they've paid $400 million. This person has stemmed a company that's paid $400 million in commissions. They're celebrating 15 years as the #1 real estate company in New Mexico. And their lifetime sales, his lifetime sales in real estate is $14 billion. He's trained over 2,000 real estate agents. So I don't know about you, but this is about to be incredible value. So I would take in a deep breath, exhale, and be incredibly grateful that we get the time of Mr. Peter Parnegg to teach us some amazing things so we can narrow the distance between the brilliant teaching of Brian Robert and action. Get it good. Okay, with that, let's bring in Mr. Peter Parnegg. I'm so excited to meet
So, sit down here. They always say that when you clap at the beginning of the speaker, it's an act of hope. And when you clap at the end of the speaker, it's an act of gratitude. So let's wait till I'm done, and then you can clap or not. Thank you very much. I've got 3 things I got to hold here. It's my cool little clicker. Oh, like that. Okay, I got to start with some thank yous. The Morrisons. The Morrisons have killed themselves for this. Everything that's here is free. They took no risk, of course, to rent a hotel room, do all the stuff. They've got probably $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 into this. I think it's fabulous. Second of all, I have to thank Scotty Paulson. I know he left already. If there weren't Scotty, there would be none of us. And so thank you, Scotty. Number 3, I have to thank the Roberts, Brian and Mandy. Because without them, I wouldn't have this slide. And so without this slide. We've got a really interesting stage set for the next hour. Does everybody have a pen? Does everybody have something on which to write, like a stone tablet of some sort? Something paper. I have one of my IT guys goes, what's a pen and paper? And it's like, yeah, this is what we used to use back in the 1900s. Thank you, Lisa. It's really great to come to a place like this and you get excited. How many people are distributors here? How many people are signed in? How many people are here as guests and are sort of going, yeah, let's check it out. Thank you very much. Check it out. That's what we say in New Mexico. Check it out. Hola. Thank you, Paul. So, real estate is very much like network marketing. I own an MLM company. It happens to be a real estate company because I have 1,000 agents and I get a little piece of what they sell. They get 70 or 80% of it, and I get 10 or 20% of it, and I get to bear all the expenses, but that's all right. And so when I got involved in this, largely at my son's insistence, I realized that a whole bunch of the things I've been doing for the last 35 years really play. I got a real estate license in 1972. I'm the current president of the New Mexico Real Estate Commission. I've been doing this a long, long time. And I realized that there's always a gap between the flame of desire at any moment. At this moment, you're sitting and you go, yeah, I'm ready to eat glass. If I jumped off this building, I could fly, I'm pretty sure. And then you hear about Kevin, and you hear about the, we met a guy at the convention who's making $320,000 a month. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a lot of money. I have never made $320,000 in a month, and it kind of bugs me. It's like, ugh. And I'm going, this is big, big money. And I don't know if you figured this out this morning. This is big business. This is not a little, it's not your, sort of mom's side business and we'll start a little landscaping business. This is big business. And what's really interesting about it is if you will address it at that level, it's the real deal. It's not, it's a combination of skills and actions and mindsets and technique and energy. And you can make this a career. It's not a job, it's a career. And what's the difference between a job? Waiting is a job. A career is something that you can grow into. And I believe that there's an infinite supply of opportunity to grow into this. But it takes a shift in mindset. And I listen to this stuff, and I get pretty jacked up myself. I'm like, ooh, I can make some real money in network marketing. And then you leave, and then what happens? So what I want to talk today about is the gap between getting on a Saturday call, hearing this, and the actual execution. Because there is a gap for almost everybody. Very few people, and maybe I'll ask a question, how many people execute perfectly? Way to go. Could you stand up? I'd like you to introduce yourself. Here, I'd like to trade places. Would you take this microphone from me right now? There is a gap between the intention and the execution. As Zach said, otherwise we would all be rich, happy, slim, fit. Real estate has this ability, just like an MLM, to shine this giant spotlight on your insecurities. It strips you naked at some level. When you have a job and you sit and somebody says, please, by 5 o'clock, have this brief done. Any legal assistants in here? Anybody in the legal profession? Anybody have a job where somebody tells you what to do? Raise your hand. Anybody have a job where nobody tells you what to do? Those people are multiple marketing distributors. When somebody tells you what to do, it's really easy. You either do what they say and keep your job, or they don't. It's really simple. The accountability is supplied for you. But in this business, the accountability is only supplied from within. And therein lies the problem. How many people would say that you're skeptical in general? Any skeptics in here at all? No. Wait, here's how I can tell whether you're a skeptic. Watch this. It's a body language thing. Anybody got that? How many people are optimists? Like, sure, yeah, this is great. And then there's the third piece that are closet skeptics. These are the worst kinds. The one that pretend to be optimistic, but are really skeptical. Say, oh, yeah. All those things are underneath what I want to talk about today. Come on. So I've got this cool app. Let's see if it works. Oh, my slides are working. Okay. A belief is nothing more than a thought that you think over and over. How many people have heard of T. Harv Eker? Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Thoughts. T. Harv. Create feelings. Create actions. Create results. I want to spend a lot of time today thinking and talking about what your brain is doing, because everything originates from thoughts. And it could be a thought of inadequacy. It could be a thought of prosperity. It could be a thought, I'm not worthy. Anything that you think over and over again turns into a belief. So if you want to go backwards from a belief, I'm going to show this to you a bunch of times. Because you know what? You have a piece of paper, and I'm going to want you to write all over it. Up at the very top, you have a space. Everybody has a space? Would you write one of my favorite phrases, which is remember to remember? And why this phrase is important to me, if you're anything like I am, I learn stuff, I get excited, and I forget it. Now, I'm going to let you in on a secret. I'm over 40, and I inhaled a lot. Thank you, Bill Clinton. Because back in college, that's what we did. So my mind is not where it used to be, and it forgets easily. I kind of think, what, am I just a loser? Because I have to learn this stuff over and over and over. And finally, when somebody else said to me, remember to remember, I realized the human condition is that we learn something very powerful, and then we forget it. And then we hear it the next time, and we go, oh, God, that was great. And then we forget it. And then you hear it again, you go, God, I got to remember that. So this notion of retraining ourselves and remembering, if we learned everything just one time and got it, this would be easy. But for some reason, if you're like me, I have to hear this stuff over and over. So one of my favorites, remember to remember. I'm going to tell you that a belief is a thought that you just think over and over again. And we're going to work that. What that means is, how many people believe we have a choice in what we think? How many people believe on the other side? No, we don't have a choice. We just think what we think. This is good, we're making progress. We have unanimity. So, come on, go over it again. Yeah, it's working. Here's the next piece. Beliefs are stored in your subconscious. I want to differentiate right now between your conscious and your subconscious. And then I want to talk about the desired outcome. About 20 years ago, I show up in front of a mentor, and this guy says to me, Peter, the goal is to lead a magnificent life. And I had never heard that phrase before. I was like, what do you mean by a magnificent life? And he said, well, you have some choices. You can lead an average life, or you can lead a magnificent life. And I had never heard that phrase. And I'd grown up in an entrepreneurial environment. My father started this real estate company. That makes me an SOB, by the way, son of a broker. And when I heard that, I went, wow, what a concept to try and design a life. Now, that's old news right now. How many people have heard the concept of designing a life? Please raise your hand. You know, how many people have never heard of such a thing? What do you mean designing a life? Here's the concept. In theory, everything's a choice. The trouble is we're going to learn in the next 10 or 15 minutes, you can't figure out how to make those choices. So just hold that thought that the goal is to lead a magnificent life. How many people in here resist that concept emotionally going, no, the job is to dig hard for 20 years, get your Timex watch, have your retirement. We were taught that. Is that teaching familiar in our culture? Yeah. Dig down, put your nose down, work it out. At 65, you get the gold watch and you get to go on. That's culturally in the consciousness. Would you say that's accurate? Yeah. This entrepreneurial lead a magnificent life is not what has been going on. Now, thanks to some guys like Anthony Robbins, Jim Rohn, that consciousness has started to creep into the collective consciousness. Would you agree? And now MLM, 157 billion bucks. Anybody who's in MLM is starting to hear these things, and they will become a part of our vocabulary. But most of us in here didn't do that. So this is the desired outcome for me. At the end, the day I finally hit the switch and it goes dark, I want to go, God, I lived a magnificent life. How many feel comfortable with that conceptually? May not emotionally resonate, but how many go, that would be a pretty good outcome if I could say the day the light goes out, that's the metaphor for dying, that I did a good job. Okay, cool. Now, let me give you some details here. First of all, your subconscious is your essence. It's your Brianness, it's your Zachness, it's your Peterness, it's your Peytonness, it's whatever you are. It's really who you are. Your conscious is in charge of, am I going to wear a red shirt with a black tie? Am I going to wear a black shirt with a purple tie? Am I going to wear a purple shirt with a tie that matches? Am I going to run this red light? Do I want a Honda? Do I want a Rolls Royce? Your conscious makes all those decisions, but your subconscious is really the essence of who you are. When somebody gets to know you for real, they're really interacting with your belief system, your essence. So far, so good. You have to believe what I'm about to say for this whole thing to make some sense. So far, so good. Anybody disagree? Anybody? Cool. Your subconscious cannot differentiate between what is real and what is unreal. Let me explain how that works. Your subconscious communicates with you in two languages. It communicates with you in the language of your dreams and in the language of your active imagination. How many people in here have ever had a falling dream? How many people have ever had a flying dream? But for those people who had a flying dream, how did you feel when you woke up? It's magic, isn't it? It's just like, whoa, I flew. Now, did you fly? No. But your subconscious doesn't know any difference. Have you ever woken up with a start from a dream when you were being attacked or even raped or falling deep, and just before you hit the ground when you know you're going to splat, and you wake up with the start? Anybody have that experience? And then you wake up in your bed, and you're warm and no splat. Your subconscious doesn't know that. Let me talk about an eating disorder for a moment. Somebody with an eating disorder, bulimia, anorexia, might stand in front of the mirror, and they might be 85 pounds, but their subconscious believes that they're fat. So they're standing there buck naked and skinny as a rail, actually about to die. And their subconscious goes, we're fat. Got that? Your subconscious cannot differentiate between what is real and what is unreal. This is going to be very important in the next 5 minutes. Now, here's the second piece. Your subconscious believes whatever it is told repeatedly. So your subconscious belief system, which remember is your essence, whatever it has been told repeatedly, it goes, it must be so. Now, I want to show you this video. This is too cool. I just love this. Let's see if we can turn this light off here. Ready? This is great. Okay. Who remembers, remember to remind us, what do you think I'm going to say here? A belief is nothing more than a thought that you think over and over again. I told you I'd repeat this because it's so important. Remember to remember. Ready? Okay. Who remembers Muhammad Ali? Yeah. Just to set the record straight, he was voted the Time Magazine Athlete of the Century. Now, I've never made $300,000 in a month, and I've never been on the cover of Time Magazine. Two shortcomings that I just have to reveal to you right now. I'd love to be on the cover of Time Magazine, but I've done nothing notable enough to do that. He was Athlete of the Century. And think of his competition in the 1900s. Michael Jordan, let me go. Big deal is the point. Remember what he said all the time? I'm the greatest. Floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. He had these sayings. Remember those two things? Now, I don't know if it bugged you, but it bugged me. Because anybody that stands and tells you I'm the greatest, it hits. Do you know what the BS meter is? You ever heard about the BS meter? Let me explain the BS meter to you just for real quick. Everybody is born, that means congenital, at birth, with a BS meter. And the way I said it, goes, when it gets revved up, it goes, incoming BS. And everybody has one. You are perfectly calibrated at birth to detect incoming BS. The interesting thing is there is no calibration until you learn this to detect outgoing BS. Otherwise, there would be no BS, right? So one of your jobs as you become an adult is to never trip your own outgoing BS meter. Harder than it sounds, separate discussion. Every time I hear Muhammad Ali going, I'm the greatest, I'm going, you're full of poo. You're so arrogant. Where's your humility? I did not understand until I learned this, what was going on. You ready to watch this video? Check this out.
I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fat, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
Cassius Clay goes into the record book with Corbin, Kelly, and Crowder as another who wrote up one of the great upsets in the heavyweight history.
It is befitting that I leave the game just like I came in, beating a big, bad monster who knocks out everybody and no one can whoop him. That's when that little Cassius Clay from Louisville, Kentucky came up and stopped. Sonny Liston, the man who annihilated Clark Patterson twice, he was going to kill me. But he hit harder than George. His reach was longer than George, his better boxer than George. And I'm better now than I was when you saw that 22-year-old undeveloped kid running from Sonny Liston. I'm experienced now, professional. Jaws been broke, been knocked down a couple of times. Bad. Been chopping trees. I've done something new to this fight. I have wrestled with an alligator. That's right. I have wrestled with an alligator. I have tussled with a whale. I have handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. Fast. Last night I cut the light off in the bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. Fast. You, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked. But the man's in cover. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Yeah. I'm bad.
What was he doing? He was reinforcing his own belief system by himself. Remember, your subconscious believes whatever it is told repeatedly. This gets so important. So, which comes first? The accomplishment, the action, or the belief? Which comes first?
The belief.
The belief has to come first, but the problem is, how do I have a belief if I've never done it? And therein lies the trick to the next few seconds. All right, so network marketing, aka social marketing, is simply a business first of belief and then of action and skill. But that's a real problem for me and my BS meter because I go, how do I fake it till I make it? How do I do this thing? So that goes back to the notion of your subconscious cannot differentiate between what is real and what is unreal. So the day you signed up, your belief was high, right? If you haven't signed up, you're going, this is pretty cool. But if the day you sign up, you go, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to make a bunch of money. I want to be like Kevin. I want to be like Steve. I want to be like Peyton. I want to be like Brian! And if I just call some people, I'm going to be rich. And then what happens? Then other people say, really? MLM? So, to remind us, third time, got it? A belief is nothing more than that you think over and over. Got it? So, another way to put this is whatever you focus on expands. And you are in charge of what you focus on. Now, has anybody in there ever been pumped up by Saturday call? Anybody? Yeah. And then taking the personal right at the moment after signing off going, I'm going to do the thing. What's the thing?
Talk to people.
Talk to people. I'm going to sign people up. I'm going to recruit. I'm going to get them. I'm going to build my business. And then you've done nothing. Please raise your hand if you've been that person. Yes. Ryan did not raise his hand. So the question is, how many people, test question 1A, do not worry, you cannot fail this test. What is the first of the 10 steps of the Brian Rivera teaching? I love you guys. You're awesome. The check's in the mail. Okay, write your why. So the question to me is, does anybody ever struggle with writing your why? I do, all the time. Now, if you didn't raise your hand, I'm going to ask the other question. This means you have to raise your hand on this. How many people have no struggle writing your why? Somebody lied in between here. I'm not going to put you on the spot. Okay. So, here's the deal. Because your subconscious has many messages that sabotage your why. So what's happening is your conscious, you've been told by Brian and his brilliant teachings, and by the way, Brian is on this. This guy is a magic man. I have been around a lot of great teachers, and Brian's the real deal. There's nothing fake here. So what he teaches is perfect, but I don't know about you, I struggle with some of this stuff. Not because of the teaching, because I didn't realize that I have an internal message system in my subconscious that collides with my conscious. My conscious says, I want to be rich. I want to do the thing. I want to be a residual income kind of guy. I want to make $80,000 this week. Peyton has seen an $80,000 a week check. I got to see it too. I'm like, that's a boat pile of money. How many people would love to make $80,000 in a week? Leave your hand up. How many people would like to do that 2 weeks in a row? So here's the deal. The problem is you don't know what those messages are. Let me give you some of the idea. How do you fix that? I'm really glad you asked. Thank you very much. So remember, yeah, you know what I'm going to say, right? Okay. Your subconscious believes whatever it is told repeatedly, and that's the same thought of whatever you think repeatedly becomes a belief. Your subconscious internalizes and creates your belief system based on the messages it receives. When Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali said, I'm the greatest all the time, he said that all the time. So what do you think his subconscious believed? We're the greatest. It didn't matter what somebody else told him. He heard that messaging all the time. Now, imagine if your messaging was, I'm a klutz. Anybody ever say that when you stumble in here? God, I'm such a klutz sometimes. Anybody ever self-deprecatingly and trying to be humble say, God, I'm stupid. How many people ever say, has anybody ever done this? God, I'm such a loser. Anybody ever done that? Raise your hand. Have you ever said something negative about yourself to yourself? Thank you very much. How many people in here have never, ever in their lives said something negative? Dion, I love you more than life itself. Dion has never said something negative about himself to himself. Oh, you're on the other side? Okay. So imagine what your subconscious does when you say, God, I'm a klutz. I'm stupid. I'm no good. What does it do? It goes, oh, must be so. Because it can't differentiate between what is unreal and real. It doesn't go, no, you're wrong. It goes, okay, must be so. So now your subconscious has this messaging from without. Let me give you some examples. Anybody hear this? Why can't you be more like your brother? Anybody have a parent that said that to you? Why can't you be as smart as your sister? Why can't you study like your brother or your sister? How about this other one? Why can't you be less like your brother? The two of you are losers. Imagining the messaging that your parents have given you. How about this one? I love this. I was born on a bad side. I'm unlucky. How many people have ever said, you know, I just have bad luck all the time? Anybody ever say that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, guess what your subconscious believes when you tell it? I guess we're unlucky. Right? Okay, how about this? Women are supposed to be nurses. That was cultural until 1995. Thank you, Mr. Lingle. Hey, Chris is a manly nurse. Did you ever see the first Meet the Fockers, right? You're going to be a nurse? Aren't you a guy? These are all messages that exist in the collective conscious of America, and your subconscious hears them. How about this one? You're stupid. Anybody have my stepmother, God bless her, her father always said, you're not very smart, your brother is smart. And so when she was 60 years old, she viewed herself as stupid because she had been told she was stupid. She is not stupid, but your subconscious believes. How many have ever heard this? Money is the root evil, and this is my very favorite. Filthy rich. How do you put filth and rich together? But it's everywhere. And then my most irritating one when somebody says, he has more money than God. I go, no, he doesn't. Don't ever say that again. You can never say that because you're lying. Right? It's a lie. So all these messages, especially if you happen to be involved in a church, one of the things is it is easier for something to get into heaven than a rich man, right? So if you have the messaging that money is dirty, if you have the messaging from a parent, or if you're a parent giving the messaging, how much money do they need? If you have the messaging that money is greedy, how many people have this sort of weird thing that you can't be spiritual and rich? I love this. Nobody has that? Yeah, you're afraid to raise your hand. I get it. Because every one of us has this subconscious patterning, and we then respond and act accordingly. So the question is, you have to change your beliefs to change your thinking. When you change your thinking, your outcome will change. We've heard that. Everybody heard that? How many is this news to? But well, that's all fine and dandy, but how do I do that? So, the question is, which is the apple of the cart? Your success or your belief? Ooh, I love this transition with the flames, right? What's the more flames? Apple or cart, which comes first? It's a big, giant conundrum. For me, it is, until I discovered this. And I'm about ready to give you this really wild idea. So, when I went into sales, somebody says, you've got to say affirmations, right? You got affirmations. I'm all about affirmations. I'm going, my BS meter is just pinned. Going, how many people have this BS meter pin on affirmations? And if you didn't raise your hand, you probably do anyway. If you do not believe you are worthy of success, I don't care how many whys you write down, the opposing vibration of your belief will trump out your goals. You can write goals down all day long about how I'm going to do this, but if underneath your subconscious is going, we are not worthy, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't deserve it, being rich makes me unholy, filthy rich. My father said the rich people, they are, the man. Anybody know who the man is? Everybody knows who the man is. It's not you unless you're the guy on the top, right? That's exactly right. That's why MLM, get out from under the man and run your own business. Because everybody wants to get out from under the thumb of the man, right? Ish. So here's the secret sauce. Ready? Affirmations like you've never understood them before. Here's the deal. You have to tell your subconscious a brand new system of beliefs. Now, remember, your subconscious cannot differentiate between what is real and what is unreal. And your subconscious believes whatever it is told repeatedly. Most people want you to say an or write an affirmation. I'm a great person. I believe in myself. I'm fabulous. I was supposed to, when I went into real estate sales, I was supposed to stand in front of the mirror and go, I'm a great real estate salesperson. Well, I sucked. So I'm going, I'm lying to myself. And when that BS meter went off in me, I quit. So for 15 years, I was going, this affirmation thing is for the birds. I'm not doing it because I thought integrity was everything. How many people believe that it's a good idea to tell the truth? Please raise your hand. All the other people, please don't raise your hand. It'll be embarrassing for you. So when I heard this affirmation thing, I disagreed with it. I said, I cannot tell myself a lie because I'm not a great person. I don't believe in myself. I don't believe that I'm powerful. I don't believe I deserve it. I don't believe any of that because I had all this external stuff. So arguably, I was stuck. So one guy, I go see this thing and it just blew my mind. So remember, your subconscious is in charge of who you are. Your subconscious believes whatever it is told repeatedly and it cannot differentiate between what is real and unreal. Why am I repeating this so many times? Thank you very much. I love that about you. So here's the deal. So an affirmation is a remodeling device, is what it is. It is not a device of affirmation. It's a way to change what your subconscious believes about itself. So here's the way this thing works, and this gets really tricky. Every one of you in here is going to figure out a stuck place in your belief system. And the way you do that is imagine yourself how many people drink beer? How many people don't drink beer but drink something else? Now Peyton gets to raise his hand. He doesn't drink. Everybody that doesn't drink, you're going to have to get to this another way. But imagine you're sitting with your buddies, and you're going on, you're talking about your life, and the sentence that precedes where I want you to be is when you say, my problem is. Because you're sitting with your buddies, and you go, yeah, no, my problem is. Anybody know that sentence? You know, my problem is I just can't, wow, I just can't give up French fries. I can't, whatever it is. And when you hit that my problem is, what you're now butting up against is where your subconscious goes, I have a belief system that is in collision with what I want. And who will trump out every time? Your subconscious will trump out unless you remodel it. So the concept here, and I'm going to give you the fact, is we've got to write an affirmation that addresses the disbelief. So you are now going to completely and totally tell yourself a lie. That's okay, and this is why that's okay. Because until you reprogram, in other words, put another story, let's take the word lie out of it and replace it with a new story. You want your subconscious to have a story that supports your magnificent life. And you've got stories in there, we all do, many of them which do not support your magnificent life. You're not good enough. You don't deserve it. Money, filthy, rich, da-da-da. That is not a story you want in there. So we're going to replace it. And that's why I call this a remodeling exercise. So it will say something like, I, Peter Parnegg, accept that money is holy and righteous and I deserve to be rich. Now, what you're going to do is we're going to write this down 15 times, twice a day for 30 days. Ooh, that's a lot. Well, let me tell you, it takes about 7 minutes to do this. And twice, that's 15 minutes. And if you do it for 30 days, it is profoundly transformational. Okay? Now, you know that you have the right affirmation if it makes you uncomfortable. If when you write it down, you go, no, I don't believe this, because guess what? Your subconscious is going, and you're going, I have had some people do this, and they reported that they cried because it pushed so hard and was anybody been Rolfed in here? Who knows what Rolfing is? Deep tissue massage when they use their elbows. And you're like, this is great. This is a deep tissue massage to your subconscious. And this is very, very powerful because most of the gap between what Brian is teaching and execution is because there's a collision in your subconscious. Your conscious wants it, your subconscious goes, for one reason or another, I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be rich. Rich is evil. And all those underlying messages will keep you stuck forever until you address them. So the goal right now for the next couple of minutes is to try and write for yourself something that kind of pings, my word, on a belief system that you've had, that something touches you in a way that you go, man, ooh, I know that I am unable to talk to people about network marketing because I don't believe, finish that sentence for me, somebody. Say again? Loud. It won't work. Yeah, it won't work. So your belief system says it won't work. So you might write an affirmation. I, Natalie Moon. Is that your name? It's on your name tag. Accept that multi-level marketing is a legitimate and powerful business. Now, here's the key. Ian, have to come like that because it was, again. If you would try writing this down right now, try and write one. Now, because what I'm going to discuss, what I'm going to tell you is when you actually do this, one of two things will happen. Either it'll be really easy. It's going to be easy, and you'll go, oh, that means you're not remodeling anything. You're not bumping up against a belief system that is keeping you stuck. And so what I'm trying to get us all to do, it's like if you go to yoga the first time, it's like, my body won't do this. Or if you stretch the first time and you go, yeah, look, I'm so limber. What you're really trying to do here is stretch. You're exercising your subconscious. And the goal here is to find something that literally is incredibly uncomfortable when you write it, because it is in conflict with what your subconscious is holding. Is that making sense? Uh-huh. 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 About 50% of you are going, this is a cool idea, and will not do it. Welcome to America. It's a free country. You can choose to stay stuck as long as you like. The cool thing about this, it's free, it works, and in 30 days, you can have life-changing results. Let me tell you the quick story, and then I want to go on. I'm a musician by love. I've been on MTV. I got songs still on iTunes. I wanted to be a musician more than anything in the world. Play. One of the guys I was in a band with just got voted the 4th best studio guitar player ever. And I played with him 1,000 nights. The guy's an amazing guitar. So he moves to LA, he gets wickedly famous. He's, just way famous, ass paid. And then I wait, and on my 30th birthday, I wake up and I go, I gotta move. I gotta go to LA. I gotta try this thing. And I get to LA, and God, I totally lost my train of thought here.
LA.
No, I gotta go. Why did I tell the musicians? Affirmation.
Belief is a powerful power.
You always gotta have your son in the audience, don't you? So I go to LA and I try and get famous, and we get close and I get an MTV. But what I discover is that I'm not quite talented enough. I don't have the training. I got to stop the story. I just totally lost the reason I'm still. But God, I hate that. I just got all excited about thinking about musing is what it is.
Not talented enough. Wickedly famous.
Wanted to be wickedly famous. No, I'll get it back. I'm going to go on here for a second. This is pretty funny. How this works. Huh?
Studio musician.
Yeah, no, hold on, I'll get it back. It's the reason I started the story. I love this. So there it is. So when I come back and I go into business, into legitimate American business, capitalism, have to show up every day, I'm angry because in my soul, I'm an artist. And when I went back into business, I said, I've sold my soul to the devil. And now I'm having to show up every day, and it was awful. And I hated it. So the way I acted out, who knows the phrase, who knows what acting out is? Anybody know what acting out is? It's when your parents go out all week long, and then you come back and pee in the corner to show them that you missed them, right? That's acting out. See, Mom and Dad, you left me. I'm going to pee in the corner just to prove it. So I acted out. So here's how I acted out. Returning calls is the #1 way you stay successful in business. So every day, I sabotaged myself, and I chose to not return 1 or 2 calls. I'll go, I'll show you, man. I'm an artist. I have a free spirit. I just won't return those calls. Well, I got to tell you, it just doesn't work. Because when you don't return people's calls, what do they think? I'm not doing business with this guy. And it was really kind of an irritant, and I started to get a reputation for not returning all my calls. That's not a good thing when you own a big real estate company. It's not a good thing. It's bad business. And so finally, I looked pretty deeply inside, and I said, the reason I'm not returning calls is I don't want to finally give up and be a capitalist. I don't want to give up my artistic side. I don't want to sell out. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever had a sell-out conversation with yourself. Anybody have a sell-out conversation with yourself? So here was my first affirmation. I, Peter Parnegg, accept that I perform all of my calling tasks daily. It's the very first one I wrote. Well, I was like, no, I don't. And then the calling tasks also had to do with prospecting. Anybody think you have to prospect in life? Man, I started writing this thing, and within a day, I was so uncomfortable. Because guess what? I was lying. My subconscious was like, and I'm going, we're going to remodel it. It has been incredibly powerful. And now I'm about 99% on return calls. May not be within 4 hours, but I don't think I ever don't return a call. And it, in one 30-day stretch, changed that behavior. And I told my subconscious that I'm conscientious. So I would urge you now to take this on. And we're talking about the 60-day Readly Challenge. We're talking about all this stuff to take on. This could be the single most powerful thing you do if you will agree to do it. It's really hard. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you off the hook right now. If you'll do this twice a day, and no, you don't get to read it out loud, you can't type it, and you can't just say, I'm Peter Parnegg, except I 15 times it doesn't work. You have to do the push-ups. You have to write this out. If you do this for 4 days, it will be crazy magic. So, just for fun, don't even lie to me. How many people would like to tackle this thing? I'll be here the rest of the day. You may not be able to dig down quickly enough to find the place where your affirmation, where you're in trouble. I'd be more than happy in private for 55 minutes and $175 in a private session to help you with this. Okay, I want to do the second thing here, and then we're out of here. Your why collides with your subconscious. So we're going to try another way of setting goals real quickly here. I've got 10 minutes, right, Zach? 8? That's all I need. Okay.
What makes you itch? What sort of a situation would you like? Let's suppose I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't made an idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? Well, it's so amazing. As a result of our kind of educational system, crowds of students say, well, we'd like to be painters, we'd like to be poets, we'd like to be writers, but as everybody knows, you can't earn any money that way. Another person says, well, I'd like to live an outdoors life and ride horses. I say, you want to teach in a riding school? Let's go through with it. What do you want? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that and forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And after all, if you do really like what you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, you can eventually turn it, you will eventually become a master of it. The only way to become a master of something is to be really good at it. And then you'll be able to get a good fee for whatever it is. So don't worry too much. Somebody's interested in everything. And anything you would be interested in, you'll find others. But it's absolutely stupid to spend your time doing things you don't like in order to go on spending things you don't like, doing things you don't like, and to teach your children to follow the same track. See, what we're doing is we're bringing up children, educating them, to live the same sort of lives we're living, in order that they may justify themselves and find satisfaction in life by bringing up their children, to bring up their children to do the same thing. So it's all wretched, no comment. It never gets there. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question. What do I desire?
Okay, here's the exercise. Ready? In 2 minutes, I want you to take your paper and write down, how come my light didn't come back on? I want you to write down as many things as you'd like to do in 2 minutes. Just total random, let it fly. I'm going to set my timer. On your mark, get set. Anything that comes to your mind, what do you want to do? What do you want to get done? 1 minute left. Seconds, you should have maybe 6 or 8 things. Is that about right? Anything from getting a new pair of shoes to climbing Mount Everest, anything in between. Okay. That took 2 minutes. How many people wrote one thing? How many people wrote more than one thing? Now, second part of the exercise. What I want you to do is look at these and say, on a scale of 1 to 10 for importance to you. 10 is like, I really want to get this done. 8 is like, I'd like to get this done. 5 is like, it'd be nice. Go through and rate the 10s. Just put a 10, 9, whatever, how important that is to you. Each one of them. Just for importance, if there's importance to you. Are you about done? Close? Now, on the right side, because you did that on the left, I want you to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 how likely you think you can do this. 10 being, I know I can do this. 1 going, I don't really think I can do this. I like the idea. And you might have put, make $1 million in the next month in rev. I hope you put a 1 by that. If you go, I think I could sign up another distributor in the next week, maybe you might put a 7 by that. I could sign up a distributor in a month, maybe that's a 10. I could not eat French fries for 4 days. That might be a 10. So what we're trying to rate is how difficult and how likely you think you're going to succeed in these goals. Go ahead and do that. 10 being, man, I know I can do this. Got it? So here's what I want to talk about for the next 3 minutes, and then we are ready to go eat lunch. Goal setting has typically been this sort of arduous, agonizing process next year. Why? We just, in 3 minutes, you wrote down 5 to 10 things you want to do, right? And how do you feel about that list? Everybody who says, I kind of like my list, raise your hand. Everybody goes, oh, my list isn't even really close. I just did it because you told me to, and I don't like my list. Thank you, Paul Barlow. Thank you, the accountant and Paul, the 2 most analytical people in the whole place. I love this. God, this is perfect. So here's the second part of this exercise. If you will do this every day, just the same exercise, try this for, I don't know, 5 days. We've got a couple of little baby step things to do. Every time you do it, it's going to be really interesting. In about 4 days of doing this, 3 or 4 things will keep showing up on the list. Because tomorrow, 2 or 3 different brand new things will show up on the list. But you could even do it tonight after this at 5:30 before we go to dinner. And the list will have some similarities and it will have some differences. And in about 3 or 4 days, the same 3 or 4 things will keep showing up and they will have the same importance. And then you will know that that's what's already programmed into your goal DNA. Instead of making this a left brain intellectual exercise, Paul, Paul and I have a relationship around our left and right brain, don't we? Your left brain tells you what you should do. Your heart and your subconscious tells you what it wants to do. And for those people who have very hypertrophic, big word, left brains, that battle rages. The more you can leave your left brain and get to your heart, the more you can get into your soul DNA, the more likely you are to be congruent and get success. That's the concept here. So this is an alternative way to go about goal setting that is very quick, because you didn't think about it when I asked you to do it, did you? You just started writing stuff down. Do this about 3 or 4 times, and all of a sudden you'll know exactly what you want to accomplish. Really cool little system, okay? How many people know SMART? Here's the last piece. We're going to teach SMART, and then we're calling it good. Write yourself a promise to do the one goal that keeps coming up, that's 10 of likelihood and 10 that you want. And just write a promise. Make a pact with yourself. I promise to accomplish this goal. Last thing I want to talk about is every time you make a goal, it has to fit a certain mnemonic. Who knows what a mnemonic is? Some way to make you remember stuff. Like Paul, left brain attack from the back row. We call them SMART goals. And SMART stands for, you do it for 5 days, I told you that, here's what will happen. Ready? Every day, if you, oh God, I even made a slide about this. I love this. Let's see if that's right. This is really good. God. These are good slides, aren't they? What do you think? Yeah, I like this. Okay, here's the final measure. Every goal must be SMART. Now, on your page somewhere, write vertically SMART. Mandy, what does the S stand for?
Specific.
It must be specific. Mandy, what's the M stand for?
Measurable.
Every goal must be measurable. If you say, I want to get successful in Rev, that's not measurable because we don't know what successful is. If you say, I'm going to go to 5 meetings, I'm going to listen to 5 calls, and I'm going to sign up 2 people by March 15th, that's very measurable. Don't use words like, I want to get fit. I don't know what getting fit is. I want to be stronger. That's not specific and it's not measurable. Third one.
Attainable.
Accountable.
Oh.
We've changed it because we changed this. Accountable, you got to be able to say, I know who I can be held accountable to this. I'm not going to eat anything sweet, white, or fried for 30 days. And if you happen to be with Peyton, he'll go, Dad, you broke your promise. That's why we changed accountable, because attainable and realistic are the same. Do not tell Brian, I want to make $100,000 this year. I have brand new agents say, I've never sold a house, I'm going to sell 30 houses this year. And I finally have gone, no, you're not. And Peyton goes, Dad, you're such a dream vampire. There's a difference between being delusional and hopeful. And the last one, it must have a timetable. So every time you write down any goal, those the ones that came to the top, they must fit this test. Are they SMART? Specific, measurable, accountable, realistic with the timetable. So if you come to yourself and say, by May 1st, by June 1st, by August 1st, it has to have a deadline. Got it? So far, so good. So one more time, you know what I'm about ready to say. A belief is nothing more than a thought you think over and over again. Come on. Come on. I might be done. I keep hitting the button. Thank you for your time. Do this, and everything that Brian teaches you will start to harmonize. It's brilliant. I got to thank Mandy and Brian one more time. I have to thank Peyton Parnegg for being my best friend ever, my dearest, most beloved mentor. Lucky me. And now we have an hour and a half for lunch. Is that correct? And you can eat downstairs. You can eat upstairs. You can not eat at all, because this is America and you can do what you want. Thank you.